Howdy folks, Creepy Kentuckian here with you from DEADPIT Radio. Today we are taking a look at one of the most infamous horror / splatter films of all time. This one, up until recently, was pretty difficult to track down. There was DVD and Blu-ray releases of this thing, but they were going up and up by the day on eBay, and nobody wants to pay nobody wants to pay a house payment for a movie. So our good friends over at Severin Films re-released this bad boy, multiple different bundles and packages and everything, but this particular edition is a 2-disc edition, Blu-ray and 4K, Romano Scavolini's Nightmare, in the UK known as Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. There was a poor distributor in the UK that ended up being thrown in jail for showing this fucking thing. It was one of the more infamous video nasties of the day. And it's a movie that I wasn't super familiar with. I mean, I had seen some certain scenes in this movie, but up until recently, I'd never really seen it all the way through or anything. And I had heard mixed things about it. Some people love it. Some people are like, it's not really even a movie. We're going to take a look at it today. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about this 2-disc edition from our good buddies over at Severin Films. And I'm going to answer the question, is this Nightmare a wet dream for horror fans? The 1981 movie Nightmare, directed by Romano Scavolini, follows recently released mental patient George, played by Baird Stafford, who is still troubled with nightmares surrounding a traumatic event from when he was a child. While he was released and deemed cured, he's now on an experimental drug that causes visions, which leads him to a psychotic cross-country killing spree. Pretty much the entire rest of the movie is kill scene after kill scene, with no more of a plot in sight. But man, the gore, the blood, the splatter, if you will, is all over this movie. George travels from New York City to the Florida Panhandle, leaving a gigantic trail of blood along the way. This movie is death scene after death scene, gratuitous for its entire runtime. That is Nightmare. If you're into horror movies for brutal and badass shit, decapitations, gallons and gallons of blood, early 1980s peep shows in New York City, this is the scummy movie for you. Scavolini had no shame with what he did with this movie. There were kids in this movie that had to do some crazy shit. I had fun with this movie, although it's not, I do agree with people, there's not really a plot to this movie. It's basically like a gore reel throughout the entire movie. Now, that's not to say, I think most of the people will enjoy Nightmare for what it is. Another fun aspect to this movie that's kind of legendary is when this movie came out in the early 80s, Tom Savini was a hot commodity, and rumor is that he was never even hired as anything more of a consultant on this, but they had, with the poster art and even in the movie, they had him listed as like the main special effects guy in the whole movie, and he was on the poster and everything, used as a selling points. And I think he had even thought about suing the directors, but I mean, hell, he'd probably never get the money. But this particular edition from Severin Films, it's very nice. Like, they do a great job with these releases. The features and everything. There's an interview on there with Savini as well. We'll go through all the special features, but Felcher helped out with that. It's a 2-disc edition here. And the picture quality and everything, man, looks great. Now, this is a 4K. The 4K transfer on this is pretty good, but I honestly think a movie like this would be fine on Blu-ray. It's cool. Like, everybody's all into the 4K and everything, but, this sort of movie, it's not going to pop on 4K, but it looks great. It's probably the best that Nightmare will ever look. There are a ton of special features on this as well. Now, most of the special features are on disc 2, which is a Blu-ray. But on the 4K disc, there is included an audio commentary with the star, Baird Stafford, and special effects assistant Cleve Hall, moderated by Lee Christian and David DeCoto, which I believe was from the Code Red release years and years ago. There's another audio commentary with producer William Paul, and a variety of trailers from the movie. On disc 2, the Blu-ray, Kill Thy Father and Thy Mother, an interview with director Romano Scovolini, which clocks in at 71 minutes. Dreaming Up a Nightmare, cast and crew interviews. The Nightmare of Nightmare, an interview with erroneously credited special effects director Tom Savini. The Stuff That Nightmares Are Made Of, an interview with makeup effects artist Robin Stevens. A Nightmare on Many Streets locations tour with Rue Morgue writer Michael Gingold. There's an open mat peep show sequence which actually shows you that the stripper or the hooker or whoever it was really using the device on herself. You could see it. Sleazy shit, folks. Sleazy shit. But a lot of you guys love this sort of thing. So, but this particular edition comes in a variety of different... There's a 3-disc edition as well. So that is it for the review, guys. Thank you all for checking this out. Severin Films has it out now. Check it out. Check us out. We're over at DEADPIT.com.
Thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like. Subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.
We ain't